Howdy, my name is Rayan, and this is my first Let's Play. Um, yeah, so I am playing Hearts of Iron 4, a World War II simulator. Just released a new patch and expansion about a day or two ago called Waking the Tiger. It's focusing on China and the Asian theater. Yeah, so the reason why I'm doing this is I've thought about doing a Let's Play for a while, but just general not knowing how to get started, not knowing what I'm doing, and anxiety, I guess, has kept me from actually doing this. But I guess why not? So here I am. I kind of have a connection with this a little bit, I guess, in that I actually live in China. And you can see I played this a little bit earlier. Had some recording problems, so this is actually my second time going through this. But yeah, playing it the first time earlier helped me get a little familiar with the new stuff. But anyway, so I actually live in China. I've been living here for a few years now. Oof, maybe like 5 years. 5 years now. So yeah, I'm doing my master's degree, and now I'm a full-time teacher. So I teach English to young kids and American history to older kids. Yeah, so I live down here at this little bay, the end of this little bay. China today is a lot bigger than what you see here. It's this whole area now, including Manchukuo. Not Mongolia, and Xinjiang, I guess, has a different name in today. But yeah, it's this whole area. So when we start, Nationalist China is pretty small, and I live down here. And it actually has a little model. This city is called Hangzhou. Uh, I'm also going to point out little facts, little things maybe most people don't know about China just because I live here. So Hangzhou is a pretty big city. I think there's about 8 million people here. It's home to Alibaba, which owns Alipay, and it's an online marketplace and payment service, kind of like PayPal. They do a lot of other stuff too. Um, but yeah, so that's based here. There's some other stuff here that makes the city pretty big. Um, it's pretty near to Shanghai, which is over here. It's only about 45-minute bullet train ride away, so I do make it over there every once in a while for concerts and just when you have to do visa things to stay in China and passports, things like that. So note, I say Shanghai just because that's what I'm used to now. That's the actual pronunciation. So I do speak a good bit of Mandarin. So the way I say things might be a little bit different than the way most people say them, people who don't speak Chinese, just because the pronunciation is different. And that's just what I'm used to now. I guess I've been saying this for so long. So another example would be like this is the capital, which we all call Beijing in the West, but the actual Chinese for it is Beijing. So I might say things like that are just a little weird if you catch that. Cool. And yeah, you might learn a bit of Chinese while you're doing this, while you're watching, which that's pretty awesome. Always learning is good. So names and such, I'll try my best to read the actual pronunciations. It'll be a little tough with names because without their actual Chinese characters, you can't tell what tone the sound is. So if you just a little bit of knowledge about Mandarin Chinese, it's a tonal language, meaning that every word has different tones to it. So just for example, if you say like E, that's different than E, which is a rising tone. Then there's another one. There's actually five total. So it goes E, 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 E. So those are the five. It's really, you cannot tell what they are by just reading the English names. You need to actually see the Chinese character to know that stuff. So yeah, I might say some names wrong if you are better at Chinese than me, or and you know some of these places or these people, then maybe my tone is a little wrong because I can't tell by just reading the English. Um, so yeah, if not, then you might just pick up a little bit of Chinese if you're interested in it. I'll also be dropping little facts and stuff as we go, anything that I might find interesting. Um, so yeah, hope that's what makes this Let's Play interesting and different than the others. Um, so, this problem again. Okay, well, having a little bit of technical difficulty, I guess. For some reason, when I'm recording from the menu and then loading the game, the overlay is not displaying. So I don't know why, and I'm still figuring all this stuff out, so yeah, thank you for your patience. So I loaded it up first and then started the recording, and I dinked around with a couple things just to make sure things are working. So I'm going to assume most people know the game well enough that I don't have to explain what everything is, which that will make everything easier on me and make everything flow. So I just picked a couple of these starting techs. I'm gonna build uh, lots of infantry equipment because I tend to not build enough of that. But I really want to have a good air force, so I'm gonna focus on that as well. When it came to construction, I'm gonna try and keep most of my things in the west because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose the north and probably a good bit of the east. So gonna try and avoid that by putting everything in the west. So on this tree, when I played earlier, I hadn't gone down anything on the left part yet. I usually always go for the tech slots as soon as possible and try and pick up these factories, military factories and such. What I was thinking about doing here is I don't really like the Navy stuff, so I'm not gonna go with the US or Japan. I do, though, like the three military factories from France, and I think also three eventually from the UK. But I do really like Falkenhausen. He will become a army general, chief of the army, and he has a 10% division attack. So I really like that. So I think I'm gonna go with Germany. But I also do like the Soviets. Yeah, I don't really know. I think I'm gonna stick with Germany. But just for now, I think I'm gonna work immediately down that industrial path. So yeah, one thing it took me a good bit of getting used to was this army, the new hierarchy, I guess, command hierarchy. Learning what the field marshals are and how they all work was something that I wasn't really figuring out at first. I'm still having some problems with it, but I think for now I'm starting to pick it up. Um, so yeah, anyway, homie over here, Tu Yuming, he's gonna be the leader, the field marshal. So one thing I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if it got recorded because having so many errors, but I do pronounce the names of some of this stuff differently. Um, for example, I live down here in Hangzhou, which is home to Alibaba, and they are a big e-commerce and e-payment system, kind of like PayPal, but used on the phone. So I guess like Apple Pay, but everybody uses it in China. So they're a huge industry. So I live down here in Hangzhou. If you were to read that, probably just as an English speaker, you probably read it as like Hangzhou or something. Um, yeah, I mean, if you know Mandarin, then you'll know that that's not the sounds. They don't have those sounds in Chinese, so the actual pronunciation is Hangzhou. This is Shanghai, is what we say in the West, but it's Shanghai in Chinese. So yeah, maybe the way I read names might be a little different, but that's just what I'm used to now. So Beijing in Chinese is Beijing, so it might sound a little different. And these names, I'll probably also be reading these. These are going to be difficult because I don't know what his actual name is in Chinese. Tu could be anything. It could be tu, 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 or tu. So without seeing his actual Chinese characters, I can't tell you what the tones of that should be. So I'll just try and speak it like a Westerner and just say Tu Yu Ming. Um, but yeah, if I do know the names of certain stuff, like over here is the city of CN, I will try and pronounce it the way it should be. So maybe you can pick up some Chinese if you want to learn or you're interested. Or if you're a native Chinese speaker or also speak it and speak better than me, then I might make mistakes and you'll say, oh, like for example, Taiyuan. I don't know the actual tones of this because I don't know the Chinese name. So maybe you do. So sorry if I make mistakes. Try my best. So yeah, I played around with these generals earlier, so I'm starting to get the hang of that. Basically, what I'm going to do is just make a huge defensive army in the north. That's where the Japanese are going to come from in the beginning. So I don't know why. I'm still not figuring this part out, but this capacity can go up to 72. And I'm not sure why that happened. There was one guy who suddenly became available, and he had 72 unit capacity. So I don't know why that happened. I'm just going to kind of hope that he'll pop up again. I haven't figured out everything, so apologize for that. Okay, yeah, but most people have 24. So let's see. Could pick another field marshal, just get some bonuses. Anybody else have defense? Reckless. I'm curious about this. This is interesting. Reckless. Planning speed 20%. Okay. Chance to get wounded in combat 100%. Plus 100%. So they can now be wounded in combat? That is something I didn't read on the dev diaries. So I read all the dev diaries, which kind of act also as a tutorial for the new stuff. So I didn't see that mentioned why that is that way. So I'm not 100% on that. But I guess they can be killed or wounded now, which is kind of frightening. So yeah, let's not pick the reckless dude. We don't need you charging the line, charging the Japanese, and dying. But you, Mr. Defensive Doctrine, maybe be better here. Now you will maybe be... No reckless, please. God, no. Reckless, damn. Reckless, why are they also reckless? Infantry officer, so he'll gain a lot of experience, good. Okay, and then finally, I'm probably also gonna have a good amount of guys guarding the coastline. I'm really nervous. Damn. Really nervous about the Japanese coming in on the east coast, which they will probably do, so I'm gonna definitely be putting people... attack? You're not gonna attack. Definitely gonna be putting people on the coastline. This guy's working on unit leader. Okay, what is this again? Attack planning. You're not gonna be attacking. Leader experience. Promotion cost. So he can be promoted to field marshal. Cheaper. Promotion cost. Not important. Okay, so we don't want the reckless dude, so let's go ahead and pick you. So now, this is also something I really fucked up earlier, is I didn't know you had to click these and then right-click them onto the field marshal to assign them. So I was playing maybe for about an hour, not gaining those bonuses. So good thing I screwed up and had to restart. So let's put that guy there. And they are going to also come in here, so let's guard that. And then you, homie, you are going to guard the coastline. So I think that is a good place. That is a good place. That is a good place. Pretty much down there. That's what I'm afraid of. I love these options here. These were not in Hearts of Iron 3 if I remember. Or maybe they were, it's been a long time. But being able to select which to defend really makes me happy. Yeah, so we're going to be bolstering those guys because I know they need a lot to guard that effectively. 34. You can't even have that much. Okay. I usually also play on 5 speed for the most part. When stuff starts happening, I try and slow it down a bit, but I do want to keep things moving, so for the most part, I'll try and keep everything going fast. I love also that you can assign these air units now to armies. That was probably the most annoying fucking thing in the old game, or in the old build. having to manually move these planes around to the individual, whatever these are, air bases, and then assign them to their air theaters was, I mean, it worked, but goddamn, it was annoying. And it often just made me lazy and not even play it. So, or play it with the Air Force as much, and especially not the Navy. I assigned that it was like a set it and forget it kind of thing. So I'm really happy that they adjusted that. The Navy still needs some work, and I think actually in one of the dev diaries they said they are going to address that because it's been neglected. So I'm looking forward to that because Navy is fucking cool, and so are aircraft carriers. So I'm looking forward to some development there. Yeah, so I really want that strong Air Force. So I'm gonna be working with the Soviets to keep my convoys on the land and stay away from the Japanese Navy. So I'm gonna be making sure that I'm building all my planes at maximum or near maximum, close to something uh, production speed. So I'm also really short on oil. But let me see. If I remember, I only have 8 for now, but I will be gaining more pretty soon, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm also not really clear on all of the decisions. I don't like so far that when you click inside of here, it will tell you that decisions become available. So unlocks army reform decisions. But as far as I know, and unless I'm an idiot, which is possible, it's not actually okay. There's that one, but there's another one in here that's not actually listed. Um, 60 divisions plan, like that one. It's not in here. So how the you don't know what the hell it does unless you played it before or you Google it, which I'm not gonna do. Yeah, you don't really know what that means. So you just gotta dedicate 70 days the first time and figure that shit out. So. Sorry about that. I might just avoid that because I don't know what it is, but 60 divisions sounds badass, so I might just do it anyway at a certain point whenever I have time. Yeah. Okay, so let's make sure no divisions in basic training. I'm gonna try and balance this better. Like I said, I always run out of this. I do a terrible job about making sure I have enough infantry equipment and support equipment. So because I know I have that problem, I'm gonna really try and make sure that that is stocked all the time. But I will be building more as time goes by and as it becomes available. Future plans? I'm only playing on regular difficulty, so I hope it's pretty balanced. I'm just gonna try and survive for now, see how things work out, and maybe conquer the world. I don't know. I really don't know. I've actually, to be honest, I've never won this game before. Yeah. I also play a lot of Civilization, 3, 4, 5, and now 6, and I've never won a game of that either. I just always get so close to winning, or and then I just get bored, and oh, I'm gonna win, and then I just quit. So I've actually never completed a game of Civ, and I've never completed a game of this. But yeah, if I'm gonna be doing a Let's Play now, I'm gonna be playing it to the end. So it might be my first victory or loss, which could happen. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go straight for those research slots. Yeah, and more research slots, and probably try and go down, get those factories as soon as possible. Yeah. Also, if I ever like just forget a word or if I ever say things that just don't quite make sense in English, again, it's a little bit because I'm an idiot, but also it's a lot because I don't speak to native Chinese speakers all the time or native English speakers all the time. I speak to a lot of I either speak to people in Chinese or I'm speaking to uh, people who speak English as their second language. So while their English is good, they're not fluent. Well, they're fluent, but they're not native. So there's a lot of words that they don't even know. So I kind of still have to lower my English speaking down. And after 5 years of doing that, I kind of forget certain words in English that I just don't ever use because Chinese speakers won't know it. So I use synonyms or I just use the Chinese if I know it. So yeah, sometimes I might say really dumb shit that just Just sounds stupid. Sorry about that. I forget words sometimes, so yeah, you'll just have to see. Um, okay, yeah. So like I said, unless you're like super xenophobic and hate foreign influence and culture and stuff, you might pick up some Chinese. I usually will say something in Chinese, whatever comes to my mind, and then I'll just say the English immediately after, so you know what I just said. If you're interested in that. And like I said, I'm a teacher, so it's just kind of now my personality to just always be teaching. Um, so yeah, or maybe I'm just a know-it-all, which is also a possibility. um, so yeah, or maybe maybe know-it-alls make good teachers. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's turning your great responsibility of being a know-it-all and turning it into something good, helping the peons learn. Okay, so let's see. Available what? Planes. So I'm really just gonna throw everything up in the north. So let's keep these together. And I'm just gonna buff this shit way up, like 400. What am I doing? Yeah, set that limit. I'm gonna try and really advance those whenever I get the opportunity. Yeah, I don't really like any of these decisions so far. Like this one is good for weekly stability, but I don't want to take that factory output hit. Just really trying to pump out infantry equipment as fast as I can. Yeah, and I also noticed earlier that they start at really high production efficiency already. So earlier when I played this, I canceled this really quickly and upgraded the higher infantry equipment and lost all that efficiency. So I didn't realize that they started so high. I'm not going to try and do that this time. Also, it doesn't really make sense for me to have dispersed because I'm not going to be expanding in the eastern part of the country. Just that's where the Japanese are going to come. So I'm going to stick with concentrated and stick to a few territories in the west. Um, oh, one other thing I really think I like and has a lot of potential is these off-map civilian and military factories. That sounds cool. Like if you can have a little bit of production always being given to you outside of your territory, that would be really useful for certain countries, especially if you're playing smaller countries. Um, okay, so yeah, let's keep going down for those military factories. Cut that bonus slot. I think because I want to build fast, I'm going to go for construction. I'm going to try and build up as much as I can. And let's see. Okay, I don't really want to trade this away yet. I don't really need the oil, but I do want it eventually. So when I get a little bit more of that, I'll probably start trading. I haven't really figured out how to use these command powers yet. I mean, I know you can click on these units here and do like the forced attack where they won't retreat, and you'll take a huge penalty to strength damage. But other than that, it says you can be used to promote people. I thought when it said promote, I thought it meant that you could promote generals, like give them abilities or something, but I think what it means is just making them a field marshal, which China already has a few, so I don't see the point in that right now, but maybe after playing a couple other countries and seeing their limitations, maybe it would be better for that. So, not quite sure yet. I also don't know how long these episodes are going to be. Not the best at timing and stuff yet. I am losing a timer, but I started it a little late, so maybe this episode will be a little long. Just play it until it feels like it's been about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I don't know. I'm sure once streamers and stuff will, or real YouTuber Let's Players know the perfect amount of time to maximize monetization or whatever, but I don't really give a shit about that right now or anything, so just play it until it feels like a good time to put a cut. And yeah, like I said, this is my first time doing this, so maybe the audio is a little weird. The recording might be a little slow. I'm using an older computer to do this. It's just my gaming laptop that I have with me in China. I do plan on building a new PC when graphics card prices finally stabilize, or I can't believe Alienwares are actually the viable option now. Maybe I'll buy a pre-built something. I don't really have the money for it right now, but trying. And eventually I can get something better to record with and better mic if this actually turns out to be something I continue to do. So yeah, anyway, thank you for patience with whatever comes up. I hope I'm interesting, and I hope that this Let's Play is a little bit different than most other people, um, just because, I don't know, I'm a different person. But yeah, so that will be something we have to see in the future. It seems like now it's just a lot of waiting. The Japanese will come in about a year. They have the Marco Polo Bridge incident, which will pretty much start the Second Sino-Japanese War. So I guess I can tell a little bit of history about that if people are interested. So basically, China is currently under this nine-power treaty, which allows for a lot of colonial powers to be inside of China and um, be doing business and affecting the economy. They also have a military presence here. Which one of these do I want? Maybe I will just immediately go for this. Yeah. Anyway, so they also have a military presence here. These 12 foreign countries. And right now, well, you can't see it in the game, but there is a railway line that connects Beijing and the capital to this port city of Tianjin. And along that railway line are 12 like stops, like railway stops. And each one of those stops is owned by a foreign power, and those foreign powers like have their embassies or whatever there, and also some military presence. And I think most of those countries only had about 500 to 1,000 soldiers here, but Japan, kind of knowing that they have these territorial desires and they covet the lands of China, they had been slowly increasing that amount over time. So, yeah, they are slowly bolstering their forces here in this part, this little railway line that connects these two. And eventually, one day, the Japanese soldiers are doing some training missions and firing some guns. Some Chinese patrols got startled by that and fired back at them, and there was a little skirmish. I don't think anyone was killed in the skirmish, actually, if I remember. But one soldier, one Japanese soldier, he got separated or lost and couldn't make his way back. The Japanese generals thought that the Chinese had captured him and were doing all kinds of terrible things, so they told the Chinese that they wanted into a local city to search. The Chinese said, no, you cannot come in. The Japanese said, well, fuck you, we're coming in anyway, and they invaded this little city, were repelled, went back, gathered up some motorized units, some armor units, and went back to the Marco Polo Bridge and captured it. So that is, I guess, the background of that little incident. But like I said, the Japanese kind of knew what they were doing, that they wanted it to grow, and I mean, everybody kind of knew it was going to be a problem. The Chinese and Japanese had fought each other a couple times before that, skirmishes and whatnot, but this was kind of just the one that didn't die down and just grew exponentially worse until full-on invasion. So that is a little bit of history about the beginning of this war. Yeah, I don't think a lot of that is covered in Western education, so unless you've specifically gone and learned your own history, then yeah. And a lot of Chinese people, you should know, are super nationalistic about this. They, they blame China or Japan for this war, so they're super pride about like withstanding the invasion and surviving it until the end, and are really upset about Japanese war crimes. So, yeah, that's a little bit of background about this in China today. Certain stuff might come up. I'm not really sure about the events and stuff. I'm guessing that Paradox has put in a lot of neat things to give the game a lot of flavor. So we'll see any specific events that come up. But I'm curious to know if they put one in where Chiang Kai-shek. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. I think his name's in Cantonese. His Mandarin name, though, is Zhang Jieshi. So he was trying to prevent the Japanese from going further west. The Japanese eventually captured Nanjing. That is the current capital. Eventually, they moved the capital over here to Chongqing. This will be the new capital, but the Japanese are coming, and in order to prevent that, the Chinese leader here, Chiang Kai-shek, he decides to break open a dam. There's a large dam in one of these rivers, and it floods all of Zhejiang province, which is where I live currently, and a lot of the nearby area. So Zhejiang is down here. Then there's another place here called Jiangsu. So this whole area here gets flooded, and I think about 500,000 people died, Chinese people. So it was kind of the government kind of being a little bit merciless towards their own people, but in order to win the war, I think it worked. The Japanese didn't ever make it to Chongqing, so I don't know. It's not my job to question that kind of stuff. So that's their decision. We're just going to keep moving down this tree. But also because of this, actually, this game is now banned in China. Um, so I've been playing this for a long time, and it was always available on Steam until this expansion got announced. After this expansion got announced, suddenly the game was no longer appearing in the Steam store. The current Chinese government, the CPC, Chinese Communist, what the hell is it called in English? The I don't know, the Communist Party. Uh, they, have a lot of censorship, so they don't like the idea of time travel. Um, so like things like Doctor Who were banned here for a long time because time travel is not good. Why? Because time travel means that you can change the past. And the Chinese government does not like that. They, have a lot of propaganda that says this is the only way. There was no other way. This only had one possible solution. So they really don't like there ever being another possible uh, possibility. Uh, and like I said, I study history, so Hitler himself wrote in his book Mein Kampf that said, like, propaganda should only talk about one solution. Like, what good would a what good would a soap advertisement be if in that advertisement the company says, "Oh, but the other company's soap also has a benefit." So, in Hitler's mind, there should only be one possibility ever, and to even acknowledge that there is another choice is it's self-defeating. So the current Chinese government kind of utilizes this. They don't like even acknowledging that there was another way. So, when it comes to like, what if the nationalists had done blah blah blah, maybe they wouldn't have lost to the Communist Party. Chinese government doesn't like this. I mean, you can say it, of course, like on the street or whatever, but when it comes to like media creation, films, music, all of that stuff will be stopped. Um, Actually, if the government itself doesn't do it, mostly people in China tend to self-censor. So they will just not say it out of, I don't want to say like fear, but like if you're spending a bunch of money making a movie about something, you don't want that movie to be rejected. So you take precautions and you make sure that you're just overly careful to make sure that movie gets produced or is published. So, yeah, that happens a lot. So, let's see. This is what I did earlier, so I'm not going to cancel the whole thing. Move this up here. Yeah, so I like that. Go to mount being built, and then let this production work up. Now, let me think. I should probably be trading for steel. How many civilian factories do I have? 8. One is going to be developed soon, but I don't know if that's going to go to consumer goods. If I have 9, screw it. I'm just going to take it. I'm going to trade 1. Got to get that steel. Where is it? What am I doing? Trade. We'll just keep trading with the Soviets. Make sure that all that stuff is sent over by land. Okay, I think this is a good place to put a cut. Again, I'm not sure how long these videos are going to be, so I'm just going to try and feel it out. Yeah, I don't know. If you enjoy this, please do that stuff that everyone always says to do at the end of videos. Like, favorite, whatever. Yeah, thanks, guys. I don't know what the future holds for this kind of stuff for me, but it's fun. Gives me a reason to play the games I enjoy again. So yeah, see you next time.